Okay, I was gonna say good morning, Nate, but it's not morning.
Yeah, you might feel like it's morning.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it is earlier for you than it is for me, but it's not that early.
No, it's dinner time. So I'm Tammy. This is Nate. You're listening to the Off-Road Insiders podcast. I'm here in the mountain time zone in Wyoming, and Nate
Yeah, I
is close to the scary East Coast right
I
now.
I I tell you what, I was looking at pricing for that jamboree out in Wyoming that's this summer.
Oh,
Really thinking about it, but man, it'd be quite the
oh,
investment to get us out to Wyoming with the Jeep for even just for the weekend, which is what it would be. But yeah,
yeah. How much does the jamboree event cost?
The jamboree itself for they have a package deal for the low price for a family of like $890.
Oh,
And that's just I mean that covers the all four people, it covers meals, it covers of course the trails and the guides and like all that stuff. But I think you then also I'd have to look at this specific jamboree, but usually you also then have to go get a hotel because that's not included.
so where is this one taking place?
Now you're gonna make me look it up.
Is it the Bighorns?
Yes, that sounds
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Some Bighorn Mountain in
Yeah.
Wyoming. It looked
Uh,
interesting. I don't know why we latched on to Wyoming. It just sounded like a cool adventure to like.
yeah. Well, and then you're close to Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons. You could get in because Devil's Tower. You would
Looks
drive through.
looks
You would,
like it'd be about a 3 to 4 day drive, depending
yes.
on how we
Oh,
wanted to do it.
yeah. And you could stop by. You'd to do it right. You'd have to take 2 weeks off because then you'd want to see Mount Rushmore. Because while you're out
Yeah.
here, you might as well get all those things in.
Well, it's the weekend after the Coal Mountain Jamboree that I guide for.
Uh huh.
So I'd have to take off the week, like a couple days the week before the Coal Mountain Jamboree, because that starts Thursday and goes till Saturday. And then I'd have to take off time to get out to Wyoming. Then I'd have to take off time to get back from Wyoming. At this point, I'm already at 2 weeks. So I'd like to not be rushed. I'd have to take like 3 weeks off,
Yeah.
which
I mean,
I
it
could
would be a
probably swing, but that's a lot of time to take off all at once.
right. It would be a fun trip. You guys would be
It
able
would
to
be.
see a you would be able to see a lot for sure. Um, try
But
to
yeah,
save money on camping.
yeah, we're gonna have to. I mean, it looks like it would be about $1,000 just in gas to get out and back.
Oh, yeah, for
And I have
sure.
no idea what the new truck is going to get fuel economy wise. So
Pulling your Jeep, yeah.
I ballparked it low. It's been doing pretty good not towing. It gets almost 20, but towing, I guarantee that's going to drop like a lot. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I'll let you know if we pull the trigger and buy the tickets.
Somebody wants to go though. See over in chat?
Oh, I didn't open the chat yet. Here we
Yeah,
go.
I know. I was like, I forgot about that and I went to look and
Look at that.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wonder who wants to go so bad.
Look who decided to watch.
Uh-huh. Actually, you guys would have yeah, it would be great experience for your kids.
Yeah, I
Those
think
are
it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. And now
oh,
now that we have like a dependable tow rig, I think it'd
right.
be like now I feel like I really like want to do trips like this.
Those are my best memories growing up with my parents is driving across country. Mom making sandwiches in the back of the green station wagon.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That was honestly that was part of the reason we had the Cadillac because it had all the room in the back. So like we theoretically could have done longer trips and not stopped as frequently because you'd have more room in the back, the kids could stretch out more, you wouldn't maybe need as many stops and whatever. But the dang thing was just we could never
Right.
trust it for the longer trips, so it just never panned out.
So my parents just when we had a pickup, it had a topper. They just put a mattress in the back and threw all four of us in the back.
There you go.
Dad drinking his PBR in between his legs,
And the
quickly
number
handing it to mom when the police went by.
the number of times I went somewhere in the back of a pickup truck as a kid, it's a wonder I haven't died.
Right. We all survived.
Yeah, yeah. Well, unfortunately, not all of us, which is why it's not legal.
Well, yeah.
I
We
do.
I survived.
I actually know a kid that was just 2 years ahead of me in high school that died in a car accident in the back of a pickup truck. Now, one of his friends were driving, it wasn't like his parents, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
still.
it is absolutely dangerous. Anyway.
Especially nowadays with the speed limits too.
Oh, yeah, the speed limits are higher now. I guess
Yeah.
now that cars are more reliable,
Yeah.
they've upped the speed limits. Ah, so anyway, I've been poking
So,
around with something a little bit extra nerdy, but still Jeep related. You see this thing?
oh wait, let me go back. Oh, yeah, is that 3D printed, I'm
It's a
guessing?
3D printed panel for the dash of my Jeep.
Oh, that's right, you said you were gonna work on that. That looks really cool.
Yeah,
Why is
it's
there a black line around
because
it?
that's where I traced the actual opening. I put this actually fits in the Jeep,
Oh,
and then I traced that to see where the opening was, so I could make sure that it was centered right, and then
uh-huh.
I adjusted it by like a millimeter because I thought it was a little too off-centered, so it goes down just a little bit more.
And you can make it any color you want.
I could. I'm gonna eventually print it in black because that's the color that the dash is. But I'm trying to decide before I do that if I want to print it with holes in it for things that I want to mount, or if I just want to print it blank for now and then I'll put holes in it later.
Right.
So I haven't finished that yet. There will hopefully be a video on that when it's all done.
Those 3D printers are so amazing.
Yeah, it's been an interesting process. I mean, I've done a bunch of other stuff with it too. That's not the first thing I've designed. It's the only thing I have on hand, but and it's the only thing that's been Jeep related. It's the first time I'm using it in relation to the
Mhm.
Jeep addiction.
Right.
So yeah. Oh, and the other big news for me is I finally made the
I
first
know.
payment on the new truck. So it's officially official.
So, did you take it off-roading before you made your first payment? Because I took my Rubicon off-roading before I even made the first payment.
Well, it's not exactly an
You're
off-road.
an off-roader, right.
Yeah, it does have four-wheel drive, but it's doesn't have the off-road goodies. Like it's not a ZR2 or anything like that, or a Z71. Sorry, is the package they have for that. But it has been on a couple of dirt roads already, and it snowed last night, so I actually got to take it
Oh,
out in not really bad roads, but
right,
like slightly slushy roads.
right.
Which, believe it
I
or not, is more than I ever got to do with the Cadillac. We had not had a snowfall significant enough that I had to drive in the whole time we had the Cadillac.
wow. Wow. That's pretty amazing
So I
for
have
up
no
there.
idea how the Cadillac would have done in the snow. It was all-wheel drive, so I presume it would have done fine, but
Because
yeah,
I think
never.
you are on the what is it, the latitude and longitude lines? Is it longitude that goes east and west? I think you're further north than me.
That's possible. I'd have to
And
go see, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
traditionally we get plenty of snow here in PA,
Right,
in
that's
where
what
I am in PA.
surprised
But
me. Yeah.
the past couple of years, we had the Cadillac 4 years,
Wow, you
and
hadn't had snow with that?
well, I think we've had 1 or 2 good storms. I just didn't have to go anywhere in them.
Oh,
Normally, we have 1 or 2 good storms per winter.
right.
We've had 1 or 2 good storms in the past 4 years. That's how crazy the
Wow.
weather's been the last couple of years here in PA.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. Yep, pretty wacky.
So, that's latitude.
That's latitude. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, longitude goes north to south. Latitude, right? Whatever.
The the east and west line.
I would know
That's what I'm
this if
gonna
I was
call it.
looking at a map. I just can't.
So, my it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. It had a record off.
Like that commercial from the '80s.
Wax
Wax
on,
on,
wax
wax
off. So, I had a record of 2.5 days of the check engine light being off. It's definitely an electrical thing. So, there is apparently another harness. Don't quote me if I remember Daniel saying, "We're gonna take the oil filter housing out again," and there's another harness that I think goes from something to the engine where the oil pressure sensor is or something like that. Because when we took the whole engine out and we took all those wires out, we're thinking maybe something got bent or
Yeah,
there's more wires exposed because I have oil pressure. I watch my oil pressure constantly, and it's not going off when I'm going on bumps. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So it's just totally random.
yeah.
Um, so The engine's running fine. It's just this random, but I want to take care of it because I don't want any
Yeah.
exposed wires in my
Oh,
Jeep.
yeah. It eventually, a loose electrical connection will turn into a broken electrical connection,
Right.
and who knows what that'll cause. You
And it
know,
could screw
maybe
up the whole computer system.
like, maybe it'll just be an annoying check engine light, maybe your engine will stop running, right?
Right.
It depends what
Knock on
what
wood.
shorts to what and
Right.
what disconnects, right? Like, it could shut itself off to protect itself because it thinks there's something catastrophic going on.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I woke
I
up.
used to with the 4.0, I forget what sensor it was because I've had so many sensor issues with that thing. But one of them was going, and it would put it into limp mode. You know, I wouldn't be able to go over
Yep.
like second gear, which is about 40 miles per hour, right?
Yep.
And that was really frustrating until I figured out what it was that was causing it.
Yeah, I woke up Friday morning at like 4 in the morning and I'm like, "Oh, I think I know what the problem is." And so it was my day off and I took the Jeep in the shop and I told Daniel, I think I know what the problem is. Here, if you help me, I'll go buy you pizza. So I bought him a pizza and I'm telling him my what I thought it was. I thought it was something to do with the cables not being hooked up right to the battery when we hooked everything back up.
Hmm.
Because I had that issue once before when I hooked up my off-road lights to the wrong spot on the battery.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, he's like, "No, Tammy, it that's not it." And he explained to me why, because it's the pressure sensor code and blah blah blah, other things. It would be just dinging randomly. So I'm like, but he got a free pizza out of
He
the
got a
deal.
pizza out of it. That's all
Right.
that matters.
He got a pizza to tell me, no, you weren't right. So
He
we'll
made you
see.
buy the pizza before. I noticed that.
Yes, yes, he did.
He's like, if you're gonna ask me a question, I get the pizza first.
Right,
Payment first.
right. Yeah, I end up having to buy donuts and pizza because for my job, I'm always asking them questions because I'm taking video reels for social media.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so
those
I'm
are
always
questions like to improve the video,
right.
I would assume, not
Yeah.
not just your curiosity. So that's you're
Oh, right,
benefiting the business there. That's
right.
you don't owe them a thing for that.
Yeah, but they get annoyed with me. They're like, "Oh god, here she comes again with her phone."
Well, blame your
So,
boss. They want you to do it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, and it's interesting because the videos that do better are not off-road wheeling videos, it's people in the videos.
Mhm.
People wanna watch people talking about stuff or doing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess unless your Jeep rolls over or it's going off a cliff,
Yeah.
but just
If if you're
actual
doing if you're doing a wheeling video, it has to be fantastic, right?
oh, totally
It
crazy.
it
Yeah,
can't just be a couple of dudes out on the trail having a good time. It's gotta be, like, crazy. Otherwise, it
right,
doesn't draw in the people.
right. "We're gonna take this Jeep and drive it off Black Bear Pass."
It's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of wheeling videos,
Yep, same.
even when I was doing a lot of wheeling, I could have been producing a whole bunch of wheeling videos. Every one I've done hasn't performed well because I'm not on 40s.
And you're not, like, tearing up your Jeep or tearing up the
Exactly,
trail or
I'm
doing
not doing
crazy
stupid
stuff.
crap.
Right,
So,
right,
we'll see once I'm on
exactly.
the 60s if I can do some more extreme trails and I can get better footage, but yeah, nobody wants to see you driving on blues because it's not exciting enough.
No, exactly, exactly.
So,
Oh, so I've been worried about you and where you live and
it's
how
the
close.
aliens.
Yes, I know, and
The aliens are coming for us.
how close you live to New Jersey.
Yeah, right. I haven't seen a damn thing, but apparently New Jersey is getting a lot of sightings of these unidentified things in the sky that they're saying are drones. But it's okay. It's okay. The FBI says nothing to worry about.
Right. So
Nothing
weird.
to see here.
So there's
Swamp
2 peop
gas,
2
solar
people
flares.
that I've wheeled with, both have said it's very unnerving there, and they've
Yeah.
witnessed it, yeah. So then I called my son Michael, and he's like, "Mom," he's like, "just think about it. What's the simplest answer?" He always falls back everything to Occam's razor. The simplest answer is always whatever that saying is.
Smart kid. The
Yeah,
simplest answer, no matter how unlikely, is usually true.
mhm. Um, so I did a little research. on our U.S. ships, and there is a USS aircraft carrier off the coast, the East Coast, and it does have. It's a drone ship, so
Huh. That's weird.
yeah.
I'm sure they're not coming from there.
So
Couldn't be that. It's got to be
it,
aliens.
it's aliens.
Interstellar travelers or the U.S.
Well,
government lying to us.
did you see the one video of it looked like a portal was being opened? It was some beach cam
No.
video. It was,
No, I
oh my
haven't. Was
god,
it
it was.
fake?
I'm thinking it was, but
I you
that's
can't
what's
trust
scary.
anything.
No.
You
And then
can't
like
trust anything you see on the internet anymore.
and then somebody would post a video from DC. You could see the Capitol in the background and these orbs. There's two of them and they're just staying in one spot. And I'm like, those are planes coming in on the flight
Yeah.
pattern to Reagan
Back
National.
back in the 80s and 90s when people shared videos, like on TV programs and whatever that were all about sightings and close encounters and whatever, they all felt so much more believable because today it's just too easy. You can whip out any smartphone, take a video, and within minutes you've edited whatever the hell you want into it, and then you
Right.
share it on social media like, "Oh, look, I just saw aliens."
Right.
No, you downloaded CapCut
Right.
or whatever.
Exactly. Or you went to whatever AI can produce videos.
Yeah, there's a Reddit group that shows up on my feed every now and then called Paranormal, right? And people share pictures of things that appear to be paranormal. And every picture that shows up, every one of them, immediately gets ripped to shreds by all of the enthusiasts that like pull it into some image editing software and check like the JPEG data and the meta this and the whatever
Right.
that's, and they're like, it's
Right.
fake. Every one of them, everything. It's like, do any really exist, or are they all just fake?
Right.
Have they always been fake?
Well, it's interesting because ABC News shared a video of this orb, and they zoomed into this orb. And last night, my son called me, and I couldn't fall back to sleep. So looking out my window without my contacts in, I can't
Hmm.
see far away. So my eyes are not focused in. And when
Yeah,
you're not focused in on lights, there are orbs.
yeah.
It was just a sea of orbs in Cheyenne, but
And
that's
if
because
you've
I couldn't focus in on the lights, and they
if you've
looked like
ever
orbs.
had a camera with dust on the lens
Yep.
and light catches it the right way, that's exactly what you see,
Mhm.
right? So, like, believe me, I'd love for like aliens to be visiting us as much as the next guy, but I've become extremely skeptical of of
Oh,
any
any
of those
video.
anymore.
Especially I've played around with AI videos, and
Yeah,
it's kinda scary. Um, yeah, unless I see it with my own eyes,
yeah. So
I'm not gonna.
the 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 news station that I listen to, um, in fact, just today, it's funny because we were talking about this on the show tonight. I had to go to the dentist this morning, and on my way home, this the news broadcast that was on, they were interviewing. I think the guy was retired, so he doesn't actively work for the FBI anymore, but he did work for the FBI as I guess the FBI has people that specifically investigate drones.
Mhm.
Like not just are these real or not, but like they're um like for safety and for airspace and like all kinds of stuff, right? And he was, they were asking him questions about the drones, right? And he towed the same line that the FBI did about how they're probably completely normal, they're probably legal
Right.
aircraft, they're probably this, they're
Right.
probably that. But he did bring up some interesting points, and one of them was that the average person has a hard time deciding, or has a hard time differentiating a drone and the way that it works versus a very high altitude aircraft, right? Like an aircraft that's high enough up in the sky that has its lights on will appear to be
Mhm.
standing still in the dark, right?
Mhm.
So, anyway, that was one thing. The other thing was, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we should be shooting these things down."
No.
Don't shoot them down.
It's against federal law.
Like, I don't care what you think it is. Unless you are damned certain that it is an alien coming to steal your dog, then do not shoot at it.
Because you could be shooting at a United Airlines flight
You could be shooting at, it
or
could be
Joe
anything
Smith
from,
flying his Cessna.
it could be anything from some dude's drone to like a guy in one of those glider planes
Yep.
to, a commercial aircraft that's further away than you think. Now, obviously, you're not going to hit that with a shotgun. But the important thing to remember is that I don't care if it's on your property, quote unquote, property or not, you're still not allowed to shoot something out of the air because you
Right.
don't own the airspace above your property. You own the land, and there's a reasonable amount of height that is technically considered yours, but it's still not legal for you to shoot something down, even if it's like hovering next to your house. Now, there's other laws around, like if you feel like it's spying on you or if it's, doing dive bombs at your cat, like those are different. But shooting a thing that has done nothing to harm you other than hovering your property down is a federal crime. So
Right.
don't shoot things down. You don't know, especially if you can't tell what they are.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I have to say about drones. I kind of want to see one in person.
Yeah.
I don't usually when it's cold outside, I don't spend a lot of time outside, so there's not a good chance I'm going to see one, but
And it's not that I'm doubting there's drones or whatever, alien ships or whatever it is flying around,
right.
because I know people that I've met in person who have seen them. So, it's just not like you just see people, on the internet talking about it. I actually, someone.
I think that it is, I don't know if I want to say likely, but it's at least possible that there are something that are not normal everyday commercial aircraft that's buzzing around up there, and that's what's caused the stir. I don't think it's anything like, these aren't like Chinese drones that are going to drop nukes on us or something. These aren't
Well,
aliens. They're, if I were to guess, it's probably our own government doing
it
something.
is. It's
Yeah.
totally is. Because okay, think about it.
Or it's some idiot playing a prank.
Right.
Like those
Who's
are
got
my
a
two
lot-
bets.
Right. Because the Chinese, they have spy balloons. They don't have drones. They have spy balloons.
Spy balloons. Now that
Yeah.
did happen, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Like last year sometime they were flying
Yeah.
over California,
Yeah, they flew. I
Yeah.
think they flew across the whole country. I
or
think
one
they flew.
crashed, I think.
Yeah, I think they shot it off the East Coast.
Yeah.
I want to say a few highs here, quick, to everyone in that, because I can't figure out
Yeah.
how to get my messages going. I can't figure out how to
Hey, bought off
talk.
up. Hi, buddy.
Yeah, and then Rat and Bud, and then videos, Jessica. So just welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I think that Jessica lady tuned out because I think she's in the shower. I
Oh,
can hear it on the other side of my wall.
I was gonna say, how do you know she has in the shower, Nate?
My
What is
spy
going
drones.
on? I know.
My spy drones
Jeez.
tell me. Unless that's one of the kids. That could be one of the kids. Maybe she's still watching. If she is high, that's my wife, folks.
People are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Rumors
creepy.
are gonna start. Yeah.
Creepy stuff. All right. So yeah, hi folks.
Thanks
We're
for watching.
we're just getting through the warm up here. We have because it's almost Christmas time, and I have my festive old Fezziwigs Sam Adams beer. We're gonna do what so many other podcasters do as a softball episode at the end of the year, and share a Christmas list ideas. Why not, right?
Yeah, and then so I was reading your title, and did I misunderstand? Off-road Christmas wish list. Was this our wish list, or we? Because
I don't know, whatever you want it to be.
yeah, okay.
In my case, I've got a bunch of tools that I have picked up recently because of the Axle project, and a couple things I've had for a while, and things that I think would be really cool to have. So,
Well, do you want to start off with our Off-Road Insiders 2024? Gosh,
sure.
2024.
You know what? You know what we can do?
Alternate?
Well, no, we could not just that. Hang on. We could be super fancy since we're doing like a live stream and stuff. Let me
Uh-oh.
Come on. Why is it doing that? I thought this would be easy. Even Amazon can't be easy.
Oh, sharing links.
No, I was going to share. Here we go. All right. Here, let's see how this works. We haven't tried to share since we switched to this platform.
Yeah, we're on a new platform because the other one.
Look at that
Oh, sweet.
technology. This thing is so cool. It's an Eastwood Electric mini belt sander. Now, these are commonly, I've heard them called finger sanders because the sanding belt, it looks like a finger.
Right.
But I've never owned one of these before. I picked one up while I was stripping all the um, bracketry and stuff off of
The
the
axle.
Super Duty 60 because I thought there's going to be places where it's going to be tough to get to. And this thing, man, it works. It's, the sanding belt might be half an inch wide. So you can and it looks like an angle grinder for folks that are listening and not watching. And it's got this weird attachment at the end that just does like a belt sander. But like I said, it's like half an inch wide and it goes just fast enough to be better than being in there with like a file or something, which is probably the alternative. But yeah, this thing has been great, and it's only $70. There's more expensive options. There's less expensive options. I didn't really know how much I was going to love it, so I didn't spend a bunch of money on it, and it's worked really well. It's been really handy
Very cool.
for stuff like if you've ever welded the tubes on an axle housing, like where
Right.
the tube meets the center housing, it's a
Yep.
like it's like it's in there, right? You really need to be able to get in there to clean it good in order before you weld it, and this worked really well on that.
Huh.
The short side of the axle, after I got all the brackets off, I wanted to smooth it out good before I started to try to put the truss on, and this worked really good to get the burrs down and stuff. So, yeah, good stuff. I like it.
Very good. And we will have links to these products in our show notes.
Yep, links in the show notes.
Yep. Do you want to let me have a turn, or do you want to go through yours
Yeah.
first?
Do you want me to share? I guess I'll
Yeah,
share yours too.
sure.
Hang on, let me copy the.
Well, I picked two.
Oh,
Something I kind of
and he
want
froze.
because
Oh,
one of
there
the
you are. You're back. Sorry, you
oh,
froze for a second. All right, hold on. Let me get your thing up here.
so when we went camping, one of the guys brought this, and I never have used one myself, but I think it would be cool to have. So I picked two different ones because what I did is I went to AI and I said, "Hey, please give me a list of the top 5 solar chargers for camping that are under $100." And this one was the top one. It's the big blue. It has USB ports. Like I said, I've never used it. Um, but I think this would be pretty good. Like if you're out camping for a long time, I guess you could just start your vehicle up to plug your phone in and charge it. But or if you're out backpacking or backcountry, camp
Yeah,
work pretty good.
yeah. Backpacking, I think, would be. I
Yeah,
don't know how heavy this is or how big it is. It's hard to tell
I
without.
think this is pretty small. Um,
I'm sure it tells us in the description here
yeah,
somewhere the dimensions.
yeah, you just passed it. It was right there, 11 inches by 6 by 1.5 inches. So,
That's not too bad.
or yeah, 1.4.
You could almost like hang
It's
that off your backpack.
yeah, it's a pound and a half. So, anyway, there was another one in there. It's more of a brick type. It's the Blavor solar power bank. Um, Anyway, just 2 of those. They're under $100. Those would be great little stocking stuffers for the overlander, off-roader, hiker, camper in your life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I understand that a lot of overlanders, even if they do have the vehicle, will do solar power just
Yes.
because then you don't have to run the vehicle, which of course
Right.
wastes fuel to make
Right.
electricity, right?
Correct.
So yeah, that's cool. I don't think this would be big enough to do that, but it's great for
For
the
like
smaller jobs like your backpack.
correct. Correct.
That's cool. All right, let me get the next thing going here.
This one, I kind of questioned the title of this
I
one.
went and got the wrong link. It went back. See, this is too much technology here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I think I put the same link twice. I'm gonna have to look it up
Oh,
instead.
yeah. Um,
Well, here I'll move on to my next one, and then I'll try to find
okay.
that link. I went and clicked on the thing. I didn't mean to. This is hard. This is like a lot of work right here. Okay, here
Well,
we go.
we need a what do you call it? A
We need a
side person?
producer. Yeah.
Yes.
We need so
Like what's
somebody.
Joe Rogan has a guy. What do they call? Oh, Jamie. Jamie, could you pull that up for us?
There you
Jamie,
go. We need a Jamie.
can you search up blah blah blah? Yeah. Maybe one day.
Maybe one
Oh,
day.
wow. What the heck is
This
this?
thing's awesome. So you've probably heard of the Portaband. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. But this is a bandsaw, but it's handheld. Now I don't know if this one yeah, this is the plug-in version. They have battery operated versions, they have plug-in versions. I have the plug-in version. And this isn't like the cool one from Makita or whatever that everybody has. This is from Wen, which is a, you know, I don't want to say they're necessarily a discount tool manufacturer, but they're not the high end, that's for sure. But I've used this thing a ton in the axle project, and it works so well. I actually, when I shortened the axle, I used this to cut the tube shorter.
Oh, okay. I
So
get it now.
because it does a nice straight cut. Now, the big difference with the handheld Portaband versus one that's stationary is you got to be really careful to cut a straight line. And I actually ended up cutting it crooked. Luckily, I cut it crooked in the way that
You could
I could
fix
just
it.
fix it by
Yeah.
cutting it straight again. But if I had gone the wrong way, I could have really messed up the whole project.
Oh, throw that
So
one
keep
in the
that in
trash.
mind.
Yeah.
But this thing, I've used it to cut through there's a bunch of like cast mounts for the control arms on that axle. This cut
Mhm.
through those easily.
Oh, wow.
Um, it I've used it to cut off brackets. There's one bracket that's like wide and it's across the front of the housing. I was able to like shave it off of the axle housing using this thing. It's really versatile. They work
Huh.
really well. So I really liked it. I really like using this thing. So if you don't have one of these things and you plan on doing any kind of metal work, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, we're doing a high pinion Dana 44 that's gonna go Ford axle that's gonna go into a Bronco, and we're gonna use Jeep parts. We're gonna make it a Y link. So Nick was cleaning off all the bracketry and stuff of that axle. Um, and then the other day we had to take off the factory track bar mount of
Yeah.
LJ, I think, and he was using a torch to do that.
Yeah.
So, and those suckers get hot, but this,
Yeah. Cutting torch, absolutely.
so, and it
Yeah, I
a lot,
really thought on the axle project I'd be using the plasma cutter more, and
right?
it just there was one bracket I think that the plasma cutter worked well on, and that's because it was like a steel, like a folded steel bracket that was on
Uh
top of the
huh.
axle. Everything else has been cast or too thick for the
Yep.
plasma. So yeah, it's been all stuff like this and grinders and
Yep.
the finger sander.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right.
All
For
right. Do you
next
want
up,
your power brick one next? Is that what you want
no,
next?
no, no, no.
No.
We can do the JT Brooks.
Okay, let me get
Yeah.
that one. Nope, I clicked the wrong thing and it's in the wrong window.
Oh, we're
Telling
testing.
you.
We're guinea pigging you guys. Porta bands are clutch. It's my go-to for cutting almost anything that it fits in.
Yeah, and
That
that's the
fits in
thing,
it.
right? You see how
Lot
bulky
off
that
road.
thing looks? I wish I could show you it, but it's like it's big, right? It's a two-handed
Right.
tool. They had that handle on the front. It looks like it would be so unwieldy, but the way they position the blade, it's perfect. You can just like shave things off. It's really cool.
So this was my first ever um Jeep thing that I bought for my Jeep.
Yeah,
Beside
a lot of people I would say are
for
probably tire deflators are one of the first things they buy.
yeah. And well, actually my floor mats were, but this was my first thing for off-roading that I ever bought.
I don't know why,
And
Tammy, but that sounds so Jeep Mama. My floor
right,
mats are the first one.
the fur floor mats. Kyle from Off-Road Consulting put me on these, but I did
Uh-huh.
not buy. I just bought the regular JT Brooks automatic tire deflators, and then a couple years later they came out with the Pro. Um, these things are amazing, and once you figure out, what your tire pressure is, and it's how to dial it in and where your line is, these things work great.
Yeah.
And as long as I have them set, I know exactly where the line needs to go. Because it has etched marks in the deflators that'll say 10, 15, 20. I can't remember the
Yep.
exact numbers, but once you figure out where you want to be, you can dial them in easily every time. And
Yeah,
you
the
can
pros have the numbers on them. I think that the
yep,
cheaper ones, they're basically the same deflator. They just don't have numbers.
right. You just have to figure out where to. But
Yeah.
the thing is, you can deflate all four at the same time.
Yep.
I mean, or you could buy one too, I think, but it just makes it so
Why
much
would you do that?
easier.
I'm
And
like,
you,
why?
I know,
You're gonna be that cheap?
you twist them on, you pop them, and then you go. You can just chill. You're not standing there by your tire,
Yeah.
checking and.
Yeah, I have the same ones, and it's funny. It's funny you mentioned Kyle because he's the same one that mentioned them to me. Because I had those brass ones that everybody buys, the ones that look a little more like a dimple than a cylinder like these do. Stawn, I think, is the brand that makes the other ones. Um, I had those, and they were so inaccurate. Every time I would deflate my tires, I'd have to go around and check all of them, and then, oh, this one's too low. I'd have to put some back in. This one's too high. I got to do it again. And Kyle saw me doing it once, and he's like, "Get these. They're better."
Mhm.
And I did, and I've used them ever since. And the cool thing about these is they're dirt simple. I can hand these to a Jamboree participant, and they can use them without any thought. They just screw them on, let them go, screw them off. With the Stawns, I kept having problems where people would twist it from the upper end, and if you twist it from the top and you do it too hard, it actually unscrews the whole thing and it comes apart,
Right.
right? So at the
And
end of
if
the day, they just weren't worth it.
and let's say you're just starting out on just like a washboardy road and you only want to go down to, let's say, 25. But
Yeah,
then, oh, you're getting into some serious rocks. Oh, I think I want to go down a little further, and you can just reset them right there on the trail,
yeah. And
and you're down.
those ones that pull the valve core out, they're faster and they look really cool when you're on the trail using them. Looks like you're like doing some science there. I I don't know how they did it, but twice now I have run into people where they're like, my tire won't hold air anymore. They lost the valve stem core.
Oh,
I don't know how they lost it because
interesting.
it's inside of the tube, right? So once you just twist it out and pull it out, it's captured in there. I don't know how the hell they lost it. I don't know if they took it off, didn't realize, it fell out, right? Luckily, I
Right,
carry extra valve stem cores with me and I was able to get
right,
them going again. But yeah, it's crazy that and you do one at a time, one tire at a time.
right.
And they're not that much cheaper than the JT Brooks Pros. Like, why not just get these? They're easier to use. They're more foolproof.
So easy. So easy.
Yeah. Anyway, I got the right link, so I'm gonna go back to my other one here.
Okay. This one, the title of this is interesting
Yeah.
to what it is.
What Christmas list would be complete without a
Oh,
flamethrower?
I was like, what the heck? It's only $45.
Yeah. So these things are designed
What
for
the hell
like
do you need that for?
well, normally you would use this to it's a weed burner. You would use it to like if you owned a property that had a lot of weeds, you can literally use this to like burn off a field or if you're just burning down weeds that are on the curb of your property, you could just like burn them and it kills the weeds in a similar way that you would with like a pesticide, not a pesticide, an herbicide is the word I'm looking for. Right? Except it's with fire.
You
Why wouldn't
could
you want to do that?
you could take it on the trail with you, and if you get stuck in the snow, you could just melt the snow.
They don't work as well for that as you would think. I had a friend who tried to do that, and all he did was turn his driveway into ice. So
Oh,
maybe don't do that.
okay. Okay.
But you might ask, well, why is Nate talking about a weed burner on an off-road show? Because I used this working on the axle. You're probably still like, where are you going with
Yeah.
this, Nate? So
What?
when I'm working on the axle, when I did the tubes
Mhm.
and when I put the C back on after I narrowed the 60, I had to weld the cast.
And it has to be a certain temperature.
In order to weld the cast, you have to heat up the cast to I think it's 450 or 500 degrees. It's high, right? And you can do that with like a map torch or something. But this thing not only is awesome because you're wielding a freaking flamethrower, but it does it so much faster and a lot more evenly than doing it with a small torch would. A
Right.
torch will get the job done, but this gets the job done faster and more evenly. So I have that in a video somewhere. You can see me doing it, but you basically you heat up the housing, do your welds, and then make it cool down slowly so that the welds don't crack. And this is what I use to do it. And I've seen a number of people do it with these, and it seemed like the right way to get it done. My God, did it stink though?
Oh,
Because it's
it's
like
a
burning off gear oil.
fabrication hack, a fab hack. What a cool idea.
Yeah, so that worked out pretty well.
Did
I
you
like
come
it.
up with that, or you just saw someone else do it? You're like,
No,
oh,
I
I'm going to
forget.
try it.
I've seen a couple of people use these. Was it Dirt Lifestyle was one of them? I've seen him do a lot of axle, which makes me think that's where I saw it. But I've seen a bunch of other creators using these to heat up their housings when they're doing stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, good stuff. All right, let me get your next link here.
You could do either one of those. I just
Oh,
picked
I see.
two.
There's two of them
Yeah,
here.
that's two of the same thing. And I can never get those little bullet points right.
Oh, okay. Well, you've got the jump starter. Is that the one you
Yep,
want?
yep, they're
Okay, let
both.
me get the jump
Yep,
starter here. Okay.
because the one below it is a jump starter too.
Oh, they're both jump starters.
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. Well, here it is.
So, and like I said, there for the solar charger and the jump starter, there are 2 links to 2 different ones. Because like I said, I don't have one of these. I've never used one. I've seen people have them, and these are super cool. I think everybody should carry them. Uh, and it's a portable jump starter. It's a battery with the jump starter cable, so you don't need another vehicle to
Mm,
jumpstart your vehicle.
yeah.
So awesome. There's one there for $99. I think this would be a great Christmas present for someone.
I used
Um,
to I used to work with a guy. He had a TJ, and his battery was okay. The charging system seemed to be okay, but for some reason, frequently the Jeep wouldn't start.
mhm.
And the fix was to hook up the jump starter,
Yeah.
and he would start the Jeep up. And then it would run perfect. And then it would work fine. Like he'd go home, it would start when he came back to work, but then when he went to leave work, wouldn't start again, right?
So he hooks that up.
So he would just keep the jump starter in the back of his Jeep, and
Yep.
he would use it a couple of times and he'd charge it back up. He'd use it a couple of times and he'd charge it back up. I'm like, Martin, this is no way to live.
No. And,
We
it's
finally
funny
got it
because
fixed, but it
it's
took his
a
mechanic a couple tries to figure out what the
figure out what
problem
it
was. I can't
yeah.
remember what it was at this point, but yeah, it was
Anything
something weird.
electrical is hard to chase down.
Yeah,
But this would be a great, and there's a link because like I said, I've never used one of these, so I can't give you what my pick would be.
yeah.
So I just ask AI, give me a list of, so there's 2 different ones. There's the Gulo, which is a 4,000 peak amp one. It's a little more expensive.
Let me
Um,
get that one too here.
but I'm surprised I didn't get the shorter link for that one. That's kind of weird.
Is this
Um,
it? No, that's it.
yeah, let me go back to, yeah. So, oh, it is the same price, 99.99.
Right.
Um, anyway, I just think this would be an awesome thing for anybody to have in their vehicle.
Yeah, I mean it's good to
'Cause
have. I mean,
who hasn't had to get jump started in their
I I've
vehicle?
carried the same set of jumper cables since I started driving.
Mhm.
Like, my God, it's almost been 30 years.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel old now.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, and it was like one of those things, my grandparents got me a roadside assistance kit the year I got
Yep.
my license for Christmas or whatever, right? And I've had the same set of jumper cables ever since. They're in the Jeep still, but this actually makes a whole lot more sense because if you're on the side of the road or if you're even in the Walmart parking lot, you don't have to depend on the kindness of a stranger to get a jump. You can just hook this
Do it
thing up and off
yourself.
you go. Yeah.
So I used to have 2 of them. Was it 2 we so when I was in Colorado, we were, in the Great National Sand Dunes going up over Medano Pass, and it was getting late, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's getting dark. This is a long pass. Let's turn around." So we turned around, and there's this, like, station wagon pulled over the side of the trail, and these people had no shoes. We're in the mountains. It's in the fall. I think they were, like, meth heads or something.
Okay.
Anyway, so they were just stuck, and I think a drive shaft was broken or something. I can't remember. Something underneath, but it looked
Yeah.
like a little junker car. So anyway, we hooked them up to my Jeep. We towed them down, and then Neil got under there, and he's like, "Oh, I forget what it was. Something I can't remember. Anyway, it was some easy fix, but they would have froze to death if we hadn't
With no
picked.
shoes on.
Yes, and they had no clothes, no blankets, nothing in. Anyway, so to thank us, they opened the back of their vehicle, and there is boxes of these things in the back. And so they gave us 2 free ones for helping them. So I'm like, "What are you?" It was the most bizarre thing ever. So they were. I'm sure they had
Saying
stolen them.
you know where they came from.
Yeah,
They were stolen off the back of a truck or something.
yeah. So anyway, once they got started, they took off and they like hauled ass out of there. So anyway,
They were worried you were going to call the
the
police on this weird
police.
encounter you just had.
Because I'm like, they have no shoes, but they have boxes of jump starters.
They were going to wear the jump starters,
Yeah,
obviously.
so bizarre. And why they were on this random pass that hardly anybody goes on. I don't know. In the fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, you meet all kinds in the country for sure.
So Flawed Offroad says he has the Gulu one. He said he said it's a beast. So that's good. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
annoying if you're trying to jump something that's not running right. You crank 3 times and fail, it locks you out for 10 minutes.
Oh, that stinks.
Some sort of a fail safe or something in there must be.
Right. Right.
Well, thanks for the feedback on it. Now we'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
Great for normal problems, not weird problems like
Right.
Flawed Offroad has. All right.
I think this next one, I have one of these. We'll see the picture.
Yeah, did I copy? I must have copied the wrong one. No, there it is. It's just taking a minute. This is the Midland MXT 275. This is the one that I've got in my Jeep. I don't know if you have the same one or not.
I have a Midland, but I don't know which
So
one it is, but it looks pretty similar.
I've got this, and then I've got 2 handhelds, which happen to be right here on the charger. I've got these MXT, GXT. I don't know the model on these things. Doesn't say it on the front. Anyway, I've had these for years. We use these for hunting. And then when the Jeep world started to go over to GMRS radios, I use those if I'm going to be out of the Jeep, and I use the Midland just like I would of my CB while I'm in the Jeep. And this thing works really well. I really like this radio, so that's why I put it on here. If you don't have one of these, they're nice. And the base unit, you might think, oh, that looks like it's as big as a CB. It's smaller than any CB I've ever owned, even the smaller end of CBs. Now, obviously, handheld CBs are an exception, but any mounted CB that I've ever owned, it's smaller than any mounted CB. And it has a USB port on it, so you can plug something else into it to power it. Pretty cool.
Huh.
So
very cool.
But yeah, and the both the mic and the speaker are on the hand mic. So you can like hold it up to your ear to hear what's going on. You don't have to be close to the base like you would on an old CB.
Right.
So I like it. It's a good radio.
So this next one, so the dome lights in the Jeeps, and this specific LED bulb is for the Jeep. I'm sure it's that whole big long one. Yeah.
You didn't label this one. That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah. I got distracted. I saw a squirrel.
There you go.
So it seems like the halogen dome lights are just very dull and very yellowish. So
get this stupid pop-up out of the way. There we go.
Last Fit reached out to me and asked me to review this, and oh my gosh, it lit up the inside of my Jeep. I'm taking my socks off. Sorry. I'm getting hot.
Tammy's getting comfy.
Yes. So it totally brightened up the inside. And this one will only fit in the front one. There's also a back dome light, totally different light bulb for the Jeeps. Now, you'd have to look up your own, like if you have a Toyota
Yeah.
or a Gladiator or a whatever to find it. But the LED light bulbs make such a huge difference. And this is such an inexpensive price for it. It's on sale for $10. Now, I did a blog post on this, and there's a Jeep Mama code, but I don't know if it still works. I'll put it in the show notes. If you do decide to buy it, you can put it in. It gets you another 15% off, I think. But this was a while ago, so I don't know if it will still work, but it's worth a try. But I'll put the code, I'm looking it up right now, in the show notes.
Yeah,
Um,
my wife had bought like an assortment kit of LEDs for her 2014 JK.
mhm.
And some of them fit, like I don't know. I don't know if these I don't know where she found the assortment kit and if they were all supposed to fit different things on the Wrangler or if it was like a general assortment.
Right.
Because there was like 110 bulbs in the thing. But anyway,
Jeez.
I was able to replace both the dome lights, I think her turn signal lights, and there was one other, I forget what other light I was able to replace. I think there was some in there for her tail lights, but she already had LED lights.
And
Anyway,
don't
they're all so much nicer and brighter
Yes.
than the factory, the incandescent factory lights.
And if you go to like O'Reilly's or AutoZone, um, be leery of what they look up, because before this company reached out to me, I went and got just the regular Sylvania or whatever,
Mhm.
and they looked up and it was whatever the number was, and it was the wrong one. So just be careful when you go to these stores when they look up the bulb that you need.
Cool. So I have one more, and this one's just for fun. This is 100% not
Well,
something
wasn't
I own.
the oh, RC car.
This is awesome. Have you ever seen these little axial RC cars in
No, I
person?
have not. No.
They're crazy. They have like full on link suspension underneath them, so you can
I
actually
see
crawl
that.
these things over little obstacles.
Right.
And like I've never
Five
driven one, but
hundred
I've seen them. Oh
dollars.
yeah, they're ridiculous. There's a guy who used to bring one to the jamboree every year. He had an XJ. It looked just like an XJ, a little tiny XJ. And he was wheeling it over stuff in the parking lot and everything. And they were really cool. If I
What?
had $500 that I didn't want to put into an axle or a suspension
Right.
or
Or a
whatever, I
trip
would
to
absolutely buy
Wyoming.
one of, or a trip to
Yeah.
Wyoming. I would buy one of these things. They're pretty cool.
Well,
I've
have you
always been a fan of
s
RCs. Like long before I ever owned a vehicle, I was into RCs. When I got vehicles, I didn't have money for RCs anymore. So
so that people have videos where you're like
yeah,
watching it, you're like, "Oh, look at those people, they're off-roading," and you're like,
it's an
"Wait a
RC.
minute, that's an RC car."
Well, look at how real this thing looks.
Yeah, it does.
Just look at it
Yeah.
closely. It's got all the details. You put a little person in the driver's seat
Uh-huh.
and zoom out a little bit, and it looks like a normal vehicle, except for the Axial logos all over it.
Right. You could get little mini stickers and put like,
Exactly. Cover those up or peel them off,
poison
and it just
spider or whatever.
looks like a CJ.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, these things are cool, and I love the detail they put into them. Like you can tell these things are made by folks who pay attention. These
Right.
aren't just like you ever buy a Matchbox car of a vehicle
Yeah.
that you love and you look at the thing and you're like, yeah, but look at all these things they got wrong.
Yeah.
It looks
Totally
close, but
right.
it's not right. These things look pretty damn detailed. I like them.
Kinda like when AI first came out,
Yeah.
making a Jeep
People
with
with
no
six figures and
axles. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, right.
So those are our Christmas gift guide.
Yep.
Little cool, something different to get your Jeeper, Toyota guy, off-roader, overlander,
Yeah, see that?
Bronco
And
guy.
we did a pretty good job of not making them Jeep specific.
Yes, for sure.
Except for your light bulbs.
Yeah. Well, I
Because
mean,
those are Jeep
yeah,
specific.
yeah. I tried.
All right, so we only had one news article. Do we want to dive into this tonight? We've got like
Yeah,
I
we
don't
we
know.
can. We got a couple
We could do
minutes. We got
this.
5
We can do
minutes.
this. It's related, and people who like Jeeps are going to find it interesting, and people who don't like Jeeps are going to love it. So you know, it matches.
Well, I wanna, preface this with, so, one of our techs his wife used to work for Stellantis. She worked in the warranty department, and
Okay.
she worked from home, and she made the comment that they're going under. Like, she's like, they're gonna go under. But it looks like things might be turning around from this news article we found.
If
Um,
Stellantis went under, and I think I forget if we've talked about this on the show or if you and I were just chatting about this, but if Stellantis went under, I don't think Jeep would go away.
it
Jeep may
can't.
be the only brand that survives.
Right.
Somebody else would buy it.
They would at least the Wrangler Gladiator part and the
Yeah,
Wagoneer
right.
and the
Right.
Cherokee.
I think there's no world where the Wrangler becomes no more.
That would be so sad.
It would be sad. Would be sad. Anyway, I went and distracted you, but
So Jeep sales have been plummeting. I remember probably before the pandemic, Jeep sales were out of this world. They were so high, but now their sales are plummeting 34% from an all-time high of more than 973,000 SUVs sold in 2018 to less than 643,000 last year.
yeah,
So they're having issues, and
you could say that.
yes,
Yeah.
the Jeep's CEO Antonia Filosa believes that the brand's worst days are behind it, and it's still possible to achieve the 1 million sales target. Let me go back to, yeah, is this the one that it's this one. So what's happening is they're, what's his title? Was it the CEO? The company boss. They're calling him the company boss. Um, Carlos Traveras is suddenly leaving, and now the company
Yeah.
is
He
doing
was
everything it can to save face.
he was a CEO as far as I've
Yeah.
read. Yeah.
Yes. So what they're doing is this guy put in some policies, I guess you would say, that weren't working. He stepped down, and now Stellantis is begun appointing new executives across its leadership team, reinstated some figures who left under Tavares, and the moves are all a part of a massive effort to turn the company around, which is being led by Stellantis and Ferrari chair John Elkann. And he is going to change or undo the work carried out by the former guy, including rejoining the European auto lobby group ACEA, which the departed CEO left in 2023. They're going to also start to realign itself with the consumers again. Um, Automotive news reports the consumers have been alienated by price hikes, like the $120,000 Grand Wagoneer. Um, and
That
they're going to try to patch relationships with the dealers across US and Europe.
in my opinion, that's the key. Realigning with the consumer,
Correct.
right? Like the
That's
the Wrangler specifically, but I would argue most of the Jeep brand of a
mhm,
decade ago was the whole brand, except for maybe the Grand Cherokee, but even the Grand, they were all, and maybe 10
reasonably
years ago
priced.
isn't maybe 10 years ago isn't far enough back now that I'm thinking about it.
Well,
It's
my
funny how
Rubicon was
it's
about 47,000,
well,
so
it's
that's
it's
still pricey.
it's funny how time feels shorter as you get older. Maybe I'm
Mhm,
thinking 15 years ago. But anyway, I'm thinking like in the era of the solid axle Cherokee and the solid axle Grand and before the Patriots and the Compasses and all of those of the world and of course this new Grand Wagoneer that's a ridiculous amount of money. But um in those days the Jeep brand was rugged,
mhm,
and not only was it rugged, they were quality. Right? I mean, every manufacturer has its bad patches, and every manufacturer will have people who hate it. But I can tell you from owning vehicles that old. I mean, my Jeep's an '05, right? And other than the shitty transmission that died in it, it's been pretty dang reliable, right?
mhm.
Um, that brand built a reputation,
Correct.
And the Jeeps today don't live up to that reputation anymore.
Right.
They're like twice as expensive, and that's not even an exaggeration. They're literally twice as expensive. Now, the whole market is more expensive, so I can't just blame Jeep for that. The whole auto market is high. You've heard me talk about the price of that freaking truck.
Right.
But not only are they more expensive, they're like ridden with problems. They
Yep.
have
For
just,
sure.
you see people online, especially talking about the electric Wrangler, the plug-in hybrid Wrangler. One guy was saying he owned his for 4 years and it spent an entire year total in the shop.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? I'd be so angry.
I would be too. Now, that's probably a worst case scenario, right?
Right.
But if I had bought a brand new vehicle, if in the next 3 years the truck that I have sitting outside spends more than a month in the shop, I'm going to be pissed. If it's a year, like if you add
Yeah.
it all up to a year over 3 years, I'm sorry. Like that's not okay.
No, not acceptable for
And
sure.
some people be like, "Oh, well, at least they made it right." Well, it shouldn't have been that bad to begin with, right?
Especially that, not that old.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, I really hope
So
I
let's
really hope
hope
that they can improve that
turn it
reputation.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that they can what and I've been saying this for a little while now, what they really need, they need a Wrangler that's for wheelers again.
Yes.
Now, yes, the Wrangler that's out there today is arguably still for wheelers, um, but it's not just for wheelers,
It's not like the
right?
TJ, or the
Exactly,
YJ.
exactly. The TJ was a pretty good all around, like, I don't want to call it quite a crossover, but people who could put up with some mild inconvenience, but still wanted to wheel it. The TJ was
Mhm.
like the perfect platform,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
The JK not too bad, but it got more complex.
Right.
The JL,
Yeah.
especially the electric JL, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's just getting to the point where they're not dependable enough, and to really modify them and wrench them and whatever, it's just you need a freaking degree, right?
Yeah. And even the Jeep mechanics, when I worked at the Jeep dealer in Minnesota, they hated working on the newer vehicles. They hated it. It's just way too complicated. You need, like, an engineering degree, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So, I'm hoping that they can improve the brand, and I think it would be awesome if they made a stripped down Wrangler. Right, like, I'm not talking, like, get rid of the electric windows and go back to cranks. I'm talking, like, a truly simple platform that we
right,
can build our off-roaders from again, because
right.
someday we're gonna run out of TJs, you know? We're
Oh,
already running out of XJs.
you're gonna make me cry. Hopefully not in my lifetime.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they're gonna age out, and
Yeah.
sure, they're a good platform, but eventually the frames will crack, the frames will rust, and people are gonna patch them together. I hope I never have to get rid of my LJ. But there's going to be a day when you're not going to be able to find one anymore. We're getting that way with I feel like the YJ is getting that way. Everyone I've looked a couple of times because sometimes I think it'd be cool to get another YJ.
I
And
loved the YJ, yeah.
everyone you find is either really expensive or rusted to hell.
Yeah, you gotta come out west,
Yeah.
um, in the high desert, like in Southern Colorado. It does not rust there at all. My Jeep
Yeah.
did not rust. It actually started improving.
Well, there we go. When I go out to Wyoming, I'll find a
Yep,
YJ I can bring home with me. I'll
yep,
have to
there
get a
you
bigger
go.
trailer though.
Yeah. So our next episode will be after Christmas, so we wanna wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Enjoy your holidays.
Maybe we'll come up with
Don't
something fun for a New Year's episode because we're going to be like it'll be the 30th, right? So the day before New Year's
Yeah.
Eve, we'll be doing our next show.
We could do our top 10 best moments from 2024. We could do our top 10 best moments of the podcast. Do
I think we just do a live stream where we sit around and drink and watch TV because that's what New
there
Year's is all about, right?
right, there you go. So, join us live everywhere you can. Well, you can listen to us anywhere you find a podcast, but you can watch us live by going over to YouTube, right?
Yep. Yeah. So if you're watching us on either my channel, SWB Crawler, or Tammy's channel, what's yours called again? Is it Jeep Mama's Garage or just Jeep Mama or
Jeep Life with Jeep Mama.
Jeep Life with Jeep
I
Mama?
keep changing it.
If you're watching us on one of those two channels, then I highly recommend you head over to the Off-Road Insiders podcast channel and subscribe there, because
Yes.
we're using our two channels to sort of get the spread out, but eventually we want to go down to just that channel once we
Right.
get the subscribers there. So if you want to keep watching, then go subscribe there, because that'll be the best place to watch us.
In the meantime, y'all have a great, great Christmas season, and we will
Yeah.
see you in 2 weeks.
Everybody have a great one. And here I am back at the thing where I got to find the
Right.
music.
It's a new platform.
Where's the music? I can't
I'm waiting
find the
for
music.
I'm waiting for Jingle Bells to start playing.
Yeah, right. There's totally, is there a different, here it is. There's a whole separate tab for music. Here we go. I found it. All right.
Yay!
All right. Everybody have a great one.